Let's all raise a toast to Team India after their demolition job against Pakistan and Virat Kohli in his comeback done, and whether Babar Azam remains a fraud, apparently, in the words of Shoaib Akhtar. We're going to be unraveling it all in this Monday Night Live episode 68. And as you can see, we have two men who are going to join me in terms of dissecting it, making sense of it. And we'll start with the guy in blue, who's Nikhil Popat, and dressed accordingly, of course, after a thumping win. India almost improbably through to the semi-finals of the Champions Trophy. Nix, how are you on this Monday, 24th of February, 2025?
Very satisfied, very happy. I think that is what India feels after a Virat Kohli special, and it is good to feel that way. It's been a while, and a good chase. I think a very good team team-led chase, because I think Rohit did his job brilliantly. I'm still at Shubman Gill's straight drive. It'll take me some time to move on from that, because I think uh, I said this yesterday in the Hindi live. It literally felt that the baton was being passed, and Virat was like, "Okay, hold on, I'll just hold it down for a little more, and then maybe I'll give it to Shubman." But those drives, those cover drives, all in the world in time for Shubman Gill. So very good win for India. Very happy with it.
Absolutely. I think some of the shots were from Shubman Gill's bat because he charged down Shaheen Shah Afridi. I think that was a one for me. I mean, the cover drives, I agree with Nick's as well. And of course, just the cherry on the cake with Virat Kohli's 100. Akshay, did you make any sort of viewing of that game? Because you missed India-Pakistan games in the past, the famous one which comes to mind. So this one is joining the list, I guess.
Yeah, but is joining the list, unfortunately. Did see a bit of it. I did see Virat Kohli get his stun because Twitter was going. Not Twitter in general. I got to know कि विराट ऐसा 90s में पहुंच गया तो सोचा चलो यही देख लेते हैं. अवनीश को मौका नहीं देते फिर से to just call me out for it. So did catch the last 5-10 minutes of it, but unfortunately not watch it live. But of course, got on the highlights just to make sense of what we saw and all of it.
Now, all of us are going to be telling you all about different things in this podcast because I know we have different screens going on. I think Nikhil's household has a Bangladesh New Zealand game. Akshay's household has the RCB UP game. My household has the Australia versus West Indies Masters game, if you guys care about that. But cricket is the chat nonetheless. Are we actually watching the RCB UP game, guys? Or are we watching the Bangladesh New Zealand game? Or you have both screens, Nix? Both screens. What is your gut feel right now as it stands? I know people listening to Spotify might hear this later in the week and be like, which game are you guys talking about? Right now, Bangladesh, of course, playing New Zealand in that Group A encounter. And Bangladesh have got them 3 down, Knicks. Is there a chance that they can beat New Zealand today?
Very outside. I don't think the target is such that they have to take risk. Required rate is just 4.7. And there is batting. If there wasn't batting to come, then maybe you would have felt that way. You have Phillips, Bracewell to come, more than good enough along with these two. So if they had 50, 60 more, 100%, this was game on, because then you need 200 odd in 30 overs, but not the case. I think it's also the venom that is missing from Bangladesh. Unless Naid Rana can come back and take a few in an over in his spell, then I think the game will be lighter. But otherwise, Kiwis should see through.
Yeah, right now 92 for 3 if you guys are joining us. And Akshay, what is happening in the RCB UP game? Because it's not a must win for either the team. Still early days in the competition, but it's another RCB home game. And right now, Elise Perry is batting. Have I got that right?
Yeah, Elise Perry is batting with Danny White Hodge, 59 for 1 at the end of 9 overs. Strategic timeout taken. A slower start compared to what we usually come to expect of the Chinnaswamy, but the surface has not been extremely batter friendly, so that's been a good sign. And apart from that, of course, Smriti Mandana did get out to Deepti Sharma early on in the innings, but I still don't think it was a typical वो off spinner के सामने नहीं खेल पाई वैसा वाला shot था. The ball just stayed low, and unfortunately Smriti had to she was a tad bit unlucky there, but all in all excited for the game, and yeah, fingers crossed we will be able to register our 3rd win today.
Did the girl you interview has she got an RCB debut?
That is right. The second girl I've interviewed, by the way, Danny White Hodge also being a part of the side. So Sneh Rana is making a debut tonight. Joshita has been sent out, but importantly, Elise Perry will be bowling tonight. She's back to full fitness. So that was always going to be important. Agar release Perry bowling nahi kar pati, then I don't think Sneerana could have been brought in. So happy to see that as well. Ooh, that's a wide ball, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Let's see how it motors on for RCB. We'll give you constant updates in both games, the Champions Trophy and the WPL, while we're having this podcast. We are looking back at the week in terms of some stunning centuries in the Champions Trophy. We have to mention that it's a tournament record of 10 centuries in a single edition. Right now, I think we're already up to 7 or 8. So it is definitely going to surpass it this time around. Bunny saying, where is our girls? The girls, well, they're taking a break today. No watch along. Speaking of watch along, lots of appreciation for Akshay and the team. So go check those out. Some saying other things, saying, Avnish, please come on watch alongs. Yeah, Akshay is very biased. If you think he's biased,
I have no clue about Avnish clearly. अगर आपको Avnish को बुलानी पड़ रही है तो ठीक है, मजा आएगा. Avnish, we should do one for sure.
I think there is a desperate need to revisit previous watch-alongs of previous IPLs. Maybe shorter versions for you to guess how unbiased Avnish is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased.com on cricket.com, so I'm not going to hold back indeed. But we'll try to do some watch-alongs in the future with y'all for sure. How many beers did Avnish fish yesterday after the match? He was an 8, I think. Let me just ask him. I think 8 is what he's told me after the game. More comments to take, which we will. Sandeep Sani, welcome to the show. And all you lovers of cricket.com, please like this video, yaar. So much to, of course, discuss with y'all in the chat. And we'll start with India-Pakistan and the aftermath right now, because at the end of the day, this game is fast becoming a one-sided rivalry. I jokingly said that in the Office Vibes video that we did with Dia the other day, and I stand by it. So, Akshay, I'll start with you. I know you didn't watch the game, but even if you went through the highlights, did at one point or any time a point in the game, did you feel Pakistan were in front?
To be honest, I don't think we even had to watch the game to, make that observation. It's been the case for a while now. India versus Pakistan, barring the 2017, Champions Trophy final, we have to go all the way back to that Asia Cup in 2014 where Shahid Afridi, Tom Dushman and all of it. So पिछले 10 सालों में तो पता ही है, especially in ICC events, that it's hardly been a rivalry. It's been a very forced narrative, and we all know why that happens. So ठीक है, सबको अपना करना है. But I just hope at least now better sense prevails and people, recognize it for what it is. It's just, a very, very, very strong side at its best, with arguably the best players in the world taking on what is a significantly lesser side. Matlab, it's not even. I wish it was at least apples and oranges. This is Apple the iPhone versus Apple the fruit. This is that. So it's at this point in time, I don't think there's much of a comparison to be made between the two sides.
Yeah, they won the toss and all they did was win that in the day, Knicks. I mean, even at the times of dismissals for the Pakistan batters, it was never going to go for them. I mean, you look at the dismissals of Shakil or Salman, at that point of the game, they could have probably eked themselves 260, 270 a field, but India were always going to win that game. How could have Pakistan won that game in hindsight? I mean, the fans are absolutely saddened. Obviously, right now, Virat Kohli steals the headlines and his 100 will definitely do the rounds for some time. But across the borders, different sentiments and understandably so. But here are some of the pictures from last night. We'll discuss some of the memes and the controversies that we've seen. But clearly, this game has, of course, broken some records on Geo as well in terms of 50 crore plus viewing. So, Nikhil, my question to you is, Pakistan, it's a big, big reality check, man, for them. I mean, they should have really been much more, what's the word? Prepared, but even prepared is not the right word. Were they always going to lose? Because even the build-up to the Champions Trophy, this was the game for them, and it's just come and gone, and it's the same old story.
Yeah, then I don't think there is a case of preparedness, because this is what they have. This is the best that they have, is what they feel, and that's what they put up. I think they were okay till the 31st over mark. I know there is a lot of debate about the strike rate at which Rizwan batted, but I've said this before. I don't think at times we are very practical and aware of how teams function. We expect them to play a certain way, but they do not have the requirements to play that way. So I think they still did okay to be 1 for 2 for 2. But my problem was, from that you cannot go to 180 for 5. You get out the way Rizwan did. You get out the way South Shakil did. That is not what your team requires you to do, especially after both of them getting alive. So it's important to catch on to those small moments, and that is where I think Pakistan were way behind the game, because you add 30-40 runs more, if one of them also bats deeper, they get those extra 30, 40 runs because 270, 280 looked par for the course. And mind you, Rohit got a good ball. Shubman Gill also got a good ball. But even then, you never felt with that chase at 240 would be too much for India because it was 240. So I think for Pakistan, it's not a reality check. They've been getting it time and again. It's that when you have that one day when you punch way above your weight and you get that victory, sometimes that subcontinental teams we tend to really just look at that and not look at everything else. So whether it is that 152 for 0, and how ironic, they played 152 dot balls yesterday. So if you want to celebrate something, celebrate that also. Because see, that's where you have to get. Are you getting better as a side? We speak about Shaheen, Naseem and Haris. They're there only. They're not getting better. Your batting is not getting better. So that is where the problem lies. It's not about the opponent, but you go into a tournament with Aga Salman and Khuzdil Shah as your part-time options. This is not 1990s well. And firstly, they are not even that good enough to be your fifth and sixth option. That so you get what you are trying to get. Okay.
You mentioned the dot balls there from a Pakistan perspective, and you're spot on because even if you kind of add that 152 to what they actually kind of conjured up against New Zealand, it's almost 50 overs of dot balls that they've played so far in the tournament. Close to Bangladesh, who are playing New Zealand tonight. So lots to really think about from Aqib Javed perspective, who said, listen, we're going to surprise India. But guess what? There's no surprise, Aqib. It's the same old headline and same old story. Lots of comments coming through with regards to the WPL and the Champions Trophy. We'll take as many as you can. Asim Hans, welcome to the show. Kevin, mine going on to say good things. Good to great saying this. Guys, I feel Pakistan is not a rivalry for India anymore. It's a gone thing and ended in Sharjah in the 1990s era. Absolutely agree with you. Good to great. Aditya Bhatt saying, hello, guys. Nice to see you all discuss cricket to end my tiring work day. Always good to see you, Adi. And hopefully we can make an impression in your week ahead as well. Chandan Ramaya saying Park doesn't seem to have that pace bowling either, which really can intimidate the opposition. I'll tell you what they did. Few things that they really probably would hold dear is that Yorker that Rohit Sharma faced Shaheen, absolutely unplayable. What a delivery that was. I think even that catch with stuck, which Shreyas Iyer being dismissed, I don't know how it stuck with him arm, but very quick or whatever, that was grabbed. And there were a couple of other shots that they played. But apart from that, it was very, very low lights more than highlights for Pakistan. Asiman's asking, was it a surprise that Pak decided to bat first, considering they looked unaware of what a good score would be? I mean, I think it just was the fact that it was in Dubai, no dew. It was probably the best decision, to be very honest with you, even if it was just probably an Australia-South Africa game. Anyone batting first would have done that as well. Winning the toss, rather, would have batted first. Abnish, please call me Arun and not by channel name. Aki knows it. Sorry, Arun. Now we know your name. And Akshay did as well. Introspect saying Shaheen and Ralph are mediocre. They hardly have deceptive pace or length variations. Pretty easy for class Indian batters to knock them off. And one of them was Virat Kohli. Let's just quickly talk about that knock and what it means for the man in general going forward. Yes, he did get, of course, a lot of ones and twos and hardly that many boundaries, but it just shows you the fitness of the man. And he went on to do something really special, which is, of course, beat Pakistan yet again. I mean, he against Pakistan is just a joke. It's becoming that fixture where you normally associate his name right now. So what does this knock mean in the grander scheme of things for him? Do you think he can actually, dare I say, win the Champions Trophy and retire in a high in ODIs? Because every time I think about the next ODI competition 2027, will Virat Kohli play that? I think I will say yes because of his fitness and I'm a fan and all of that stuff. But will he? I don't know. Akshay, I'll start with you here. What do you think it does in the grander scheme of things?
I mean, to be honest, yesterday is not just shows that Virat Kohli is arguably, the human manifestation of, come with the man. It's always been the case in the last 2-3 years. Every big ticket event, at least in the limited overs format, ODI specifically, but white ball in general, be it the T20 World Cup last year, we know what he did in the final, the 22 World Cup game against Pakistan, 23 ODI World Cup. He's always been there. Like bilaterals mein bhale hi wo acha na kare, IPL shayad unka acha na jaye, but ODI is just one format. He's been coming good in those big moments. And I don't see any reason why he can't continue right now. Can he play the 27 ODI World Cup? Oh, that's a short boy from Danny White. It's hard. It's hard to say right now because those saal se bhi zyada. The next World Cup is going to happen in the October, November leg once again, and that's going to happen in South Africa. So we have a good 2.5 years. So It's going to be very hard to predict right now. But as things stand, if he's able to maintain the current run form where big events mein wo acha karta jaye, I see no reason why he cannot continue. Fitness, I don't think has ever been an issue. I mean, yesterday's innings was actually just the reflection of how fit he is, because like you mentioned earlier, this wasn't a knock jeweled with bounties and all of it. This was a knock that was built slowly and steadily, brick by brick, run by run. And the way he was just running between the wickets, यार 40th over 45th over में भी double भाग रहा है, double के लिए call कर रहा है, भाग रहा है अलग बात है, खुद ही call कर रहा है सामने से. So fitness is not a concern. If he is in good batting form, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't continue playing for Team India, at least in ODIs. ODIs is his format, make no mistake. So yeah, happy to see him amongst the runs. Like there are very few things that make me watch ODIs, and Virat Kohli scoring runs is one amongst them.
There'll be apparently about 20 to 23 ODIs that we play after this Champions Trophy in the build-up to that 2027 ODI World Cup. And this is a format, Nick, that Virat Kohli loves. Dare I say a lot of Indian batters do, because the template is such, right, that it is literally not Test cricket, not T20 cricket. They can take their time. They all are phenomenal catch-up cricketers of the game. And Virat is just a classic example of that. So in this format, and because his role is defined not to attack the spinners, take on the pacers, do you think this format he can actually consider himself play till the 2027 World Cup? Or again, it depends on how much cricket is there for Virat in his plate, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I don't think it's a call he'll take immediately, as Akshay said. Maybe he would have probably thought about it. I don't think he's had a deadline of sorts. No, this is where I would want to play an end. Because see, in other formats, maybe you can say that maybe Test, maybe there is a line that you will draw probably after the England tour, or maybe before the next home series. But in this format, as you said, this is his bread butter. I mean, you imagine you are so bad as a bowling attack that even a non-peak Virat Kohli version was smooth enough to hammer you down with a century. So it just tells you how effortless at times he makes it look, that he gets the game. And again, that is, as you said, almost every Indian batter in this lineup gets ODI cricket. So to me, fitness is, as Akshay said, not a concern. I would want him to take it as it comes. If they win this Champions Trophy, maybe there's a line of thought, but I would still think, given that I'm sure of his fitness, he could push on till 2027. But again, it's a call that he'll have to take. He'll be 38 by then. So not something that you and me can take a call on.
Yeah, Introspect saying without Test cricket, he won't be able to continue till 2027. I agree with that sentiment, Introspect, purely because that needs to complement all the other cricket he's playing around him. Many people also asking about his spin frailties, and that's one thing that we've seen in this format of late, whether it was Rashad Hussain getting him out, Adil Rashid in the series before that, the Santner, of course, waiting to bowl to him later on, I think, this week. So, Akshay, is there a particular way we can answer this? My particular answer would be that he won't take risks in this format because he knows he can catch up, and he'll really play it on merit. In the IPL last year, we had the similar doubts whether he'll be able to tackle spin and so on and so forth. He brought out a new shot, or literally kind of sharpened that shot more, if I should say, the slog sweep, mid-wicket, so on and so forth. So do you think this is a massive problem in this format for Virat? Or do you think later on in the tournament, he'll be able to find himself and get India across the line like he did last night?
I mean, sticking to just the ODI format, whatever little I've seen of Sachin, and importantly read of Sachin, he himself, again, with age will always catch up with players. He's lost his reflexes. Wo thoda time lagta hai. And once you've done that, especially against spin, some of those cuts and pulls that he used to, execute every now and then back in the day, he's reduced it. And we saw that with Tendulkar as well. There were a few shots that he decided, ki boss, abhi meri umar ho gayi, I'm not quick enough to be able to play those shots. Instead, he came up with new ways of, attacking spin, because that worked for him. With Virat Kohli, what I have observed is he is confident that pace agar aata hai na, I can compensate for my lack of attacking game against spin with over attacking pace. So he stuck to it. And as long as he's not getting out to spinners, consistently, even now, if you look at his average, I know strike rate is a bit of concern, and Rashad Hussain, Adil Rashid, in the last few ODIs, we've seen that. All in all, I still don't think it's that big a concern in this format, because he knows how to pace his innings very well. In T20s, in Test, agreed, that is a bit of a concern, because in T20s, you have a shortage of delivery, so you have to be very quick on your feet. You need to keep scoring runs. You need to keep the scoreboard ticking. In Test matches, on the other hand, there's no end. Spinners आते रहेंगे. 10 over का कोटा नहीं है, तो they will just keep bombarding you with spin, so it'll become that much more trickier for Kohli. ODIs that way allows him to unleash his best version because he knows कि जो भी हो मैं pace कर लूँगा, मैं manage कर लूँगा. So I would say in this format, his spin frailties, so to say, aren't really a cause for concern right now.
Okay, Chandranam is saying Sachin had enough shots in the armory. Vicky needs to add a few to continue the long run. And mine going on.
Space helps. I would just add to Chandan. That's why VK's game against space, I would say, maybe I would probably put it this way. Sachin's game against spin was a lot more elevated compared to Virat, but Virat is probably Virat probably has an upgraded game against space. So it's a trade-off at the end of the day. You don't get perfect players who har cheez अच्छे से खेले. As long as they are, making the most of their strengths, that's all that matters.
Let me know if you guys agree with Akshay in the comments. Nick, they have one for you in the comments from mine saying, hi, Nikhil from Twitter. Your reaction, Virat, offset strength and weakness at the same time.
I mean, it's not a surprise, right, that he knows it. I mean, he is king for a reason. I mean, the guy doesn't have 14 ODI runs just like that. He knows that has been the problem. Few interesting things that I heard from him and I heard from Anil Kumble when he said on a platform that maybe Virat is thinking too much and he should not think too much and just let it flow. And when you hear that interview from Virat, he said, I wanted to let the instincts probably take over and take a few risks and then see how it goes. And that is somewhere he'll have to find a balance because again, it's not a shot that you can ask him to not play. He will play that shot. It is just the timing of it and how confident he is of it coming off at that point of time. So I think it will be a journey that we will all ride with him together, that some days that cover drive will bring the hair out. Why? But what happened yesterday when he hit 2 on the up, we'll be like, oh my, kya mara. So I think it is always going to be a balance. I think it is easier for him in the wild ball format because I personally feel Gill did a lot of heavy lifting when Virat had just come in because it meant that Virat got enough time to get himself in and the pressure was not on him to take the scoring on. So I think partnership batting is something that Virat also thrives on and that is good. It is just a sign of time that what you were doing for a living, you will have others giving you that support when you are at that end of your career. So again, I'm not saying that he did not know. He always knew. It's good to probably hear also from his end. But I'm keen to see what happens with this when he goes to England because to me, that is where the magic will lie.
Not true. And I think that's a very important point. The fact that Virat's always thrived with aggressive partners in different formats, whether it's Gale, De Villiers in the IPL for the longest time, Rohit Dhawan giving him good starts at the other end. And yesterday, Gill played the first 2 overs, even though Virat came out there right after Rohit's wicket. He didn't face the first ball. So try to kind of ease Virat into the game, even from a partner perspective, always helps. But then, of course, he delivers like he did. Lots of records that he broke last night with the bat and on the field. Now he has the most catches for India in ODIs, which is phenomenal. I think he's just going to be never catching Mahela Jayawardene by the looks of this. 218 catches what Jayawardene got in ODI cricket. 1 second. I can wait because Danny White Hodge has got her first ever WPL 50 by absolutely smoking one to long on. And RCB are pumping it right now. If you guys aren't watching the game, go check that out and put us on the laptop because RCB 112 for 1, 13.3. Danny White has got her 50 of 36. Penny's gone to her 50. Her 57th in T20 cricket. She's the first woman to be, of course, hitting 800 runs in WPL history, which is insane as well. More comments to take from Virat, but of course, check out cricket.com's website for all the articles coming out from yesterday. Good to Great saying, see, the moment you see Virat is free-flowing with strike rotation, it's pretty obvious that he's getting into his groove, an ominous sign for the spin and the opposition over there. Virat is in comfort zone while batting with players who can rotate strike easily like he does, especially Gill. I don't see him string partnerships or Rohit the Pant type of batters. I mean, initially, Rohit and Virat did have an understanding as well. So now I think with Rohit, of course, not being the most quickest of runners, I think he'll definitely prefer Gill and Iyer in that regard. Do you think if there's any other spinner with Abrar, thinks it could have been more difficult for Virat? I mean, essentially, even the one ball that Abrar bowled to Virat, it got a thick inside edge, could have like literally kind of got him bowled. So you need that element of luck. And let's see how he fares against New Zealand. I think they also have a lot of spinners themselves. Bracewell might bowl around the wicket to him or over the wicket. There's Santner there, of course. And even Glenn Phillips has got him out in the test match. So lots to watch in terms of that India-New Zealand game. What else do we like before we talk about all the other things, Champions Trophy related, boys? What else did we like from Team India's win? Who else was a potential man of the match? Gurkirat said on the WhatsApp chat saying Hardik ko milna chahiye tha man of the match award purely because he got Shakil and Babar. I mean, do you agree with him, Nix?
Yeah, 100%. I think if not for Virat getting that century, I think Hardik looked primed to get it because it was his spell that set the game up for you. Because for some reason, Shami and Arshit Bhai were looking to bowl the Adelaide ping ball length in a different continent altogether. For some reason, bowling full on the stumps. Hardik came in, he too bowled few full length, but then eventually got his line and length and bowled top of off, and he bowled a 6-over spell. Hardly gave any runs, got you the wicket of Babar Azam, came back, got you the wicket of Shakil. Could have had him early, could have had one wicket earlier as well. But him having that control when your prime pacers are not showing you any signs of control, I think he really did well because everybody else was looking to be economical after the dot balls came. But it was him who started that spring of dot balls. So to me, had Virat not gotten the century, maybe if he had a 70-80 not out, I would have honestly expected Hardik only to get that player of the match award because rightly deserved it. So, and remember, Hardik has that knack of getting wickets against Pakistan. He did that in the World Cup as well, ODI World Cup, and in the T20 World Cup as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it from an India scorecard perspective. They're spinners together, 5 for 129 in the day, and the 26th overs bowled. Pacers, and Shami is not a worry for me, guys. I know a lot of comments coming through earlier saying Shami a worry. That first over, because there was some 4 wides or something like that, I was kind of worried, but then eventually he got his act together. Harshit Rana, I think, will still keep his place in the New Zealand game. It depends. If New Zealand, of course, win tonight, then India might take that game in terms of making changes, but only your guess is as good as mine. Now, I want to talk about the last particular talking point of the India-Pakistan game, and that is King Bobsy, because he didn't sort out any masla, and many people are calling him the fake king. Akshay, I don't know where you stand with Babar Azam, the cricketer. Is he in your top 30 ODI cricketers right now?
See, as a cricketer, I mean,
is he in your top 30? Top 30 ODI cricketer batters?
Top 30 ODI batters. I'll still say 30 is too big a number.
Okay, top 20. Top 20.
See, 20 में तो आधे 10 तो इंडिया के ही हो जाएंगे. दो पकड़ लो. Maybe 18th, 19th कहीं हो सकता है, 20th, 21st, somewhere there. So somewhere I would put him in that range. I'll peg him.
Is he in the top 5 Pakistan cricketers right now in ODIs?
To be honest, Pakistan, the team itself is struggling for good players. Like, अभी वो अंधों में काना राजा types. Like, I don't know if that is a fair comparison. Nikhil bhai, you can chip in here. How many are the top 5 Pakistan cricketers के लिए है कौन? Contenders.
Overall, right?
No, current. Overall में तो 100%.
Current, it is not even a. Because the setup is. It's not even set up like that for to succeed. So.
But at least who's the best out of the bad bunch? Who's the best out of this bad bunch in the Pakistan team? Rizwan, surely, right?
At this point of time, it is Rizwan. And again, even Rizwan knows it, and even Babar knows that. See, I think it's a case of I would not want to punch down when he's already having that done by everybody around him. I don't know how much of him being portrayed as the king was his call. So again, it is up to him to figure that out. Okay, what I want to do. Did he not look one of the best? I would say that he didn't. He did look very much a part of it when he had that great run till probably 2019. But then, see, ODIs are the time where you want to see such players come to the fore. I think he began really well yesterday, and it genuinely looked like, okay, he is getting back among the runs. But again, is he an opener? I don't think so at all. I think number 3 is his best spot. But there are issues, and see, that is what happens. So when you come to the world stage and you see somebody being hyped, there will be ways people will find out. Now he's had trouble against off spin, and this is the time where he has to fight that all and come back as the regime. And that's where you feel his struggles are a summary of Pakistan's ODI cricket. That everybody who comes into Pakistan cricket looks great for the first couple of years, 3-4 years. But then once the world finds out this is how you do, this is what you do against them, what is their response? I don't think we've seen that from the entire set of Pakistan players, barring the generation of, say, Shoaib Malik, Hafiz and all. This set of folks, we haven't seen that happen with them. So maybe Babar is just that representative image of them at this point of time. Not quite sure what to do, where to bat, what tempo to bat at. And in that team, how many are good ODI players? You can count on one hand कि भाई 2 से 3 है max, and you're comparing them to a team that has 6 or 7 best of their entire generation. So मसला sort करने को बहुत है for Babar. I don't know if time off will help, but there needs a complete reset for that to happen, for him to identify. Because जैसा we talked for Virat, it is partnership batting. You'll have to find a way to figure a way or strategy where everything clicks with them, because I don't think you can continue to sustain 1 minute up or 1 minute down. I think, as Akshay says, it is a bug, not a feature. But if you continue to treat it as a feature, so this is what you'll get.
I mean, I'm just trying to look at that article, Akshay, which Shoaib Akhtar called him a fraud. Now, he went on to say, who is Babar Azam's hero? You have picked the wrong heroes. Your thought process is wrong. You were a fraud from the beginning. You were caught from the beginning. You made it clear in the ICC Champions Trophy itself that I've become a number one for 1.5 days. You are no number one. You promoted the wrong people. Now, I don't know whether he's just pissed off as a Pakistan fan, as a person after that India game, and obviously Babar being the scapegoat that he is. But this man has over 6,000 ODI runs, averaging 55. He's done it before, but he's not done it in a big game. Is that the main reason where Babar always kind of gets tainted? You look at Instagram, Twitter, people just keep calling him different names, and it's never easy for any cricketer to take that. But Babar Azam, does he get a lot of slack because he doesn't perform in big games? Can you remember any big game that he's performed, ICC tournament?
Yeah, unfortunately not. I mean, potential to that. There's a reason why he was being labeled as arguably, Pakistan's next best successor to, the likes of Inzam Mamulak and all of that from the previous gen. Unfortunately, it's probably a combination of, things getting to his head, him not working on himself. I remember stories coming out from, some of the foreign coaches he had, they haven't, he's not someone who necessarily works on himself, who's not given himself time and all of that stuff. So it's just a combination of all of these various factors that have, led to his downfall, so to say, because barring games against, some of the lesser known sides, against top tier nations at ICC events, come the big games, he's not exactly delivered for Pakistan. And that's why, that's where the frustration is coming from. Like, I'm pretty sure Akhtar will be the first one to admit that talent hai. He is someone with great potential. He has it in him to win games for Pakistan. And in all fairness, jitna maine dekha, he looked in good touch even in the first few overs against India. Like, for a second, that dismissal just came against the run of play for me. Like, he seemed good. He was timing the ball well. Aisa nahi laga ki he didn't come across as being scratchy for me. But of course, many highlights I didn't watch each ball, so you guys can probably chip in further. But just the manner of his dismissals, the way he gets out, and the fact that no one in the setup has tried to bend the cat and tell him यार अभी हो गया वो 90s 2000 का जमाना गया जहाँ पे तुम आराम से 70 बॉल में 50 बना लो तो अच्छी नॉक कही जाएगी या स्ट्राइक रेट 60-70 का होता है तो अच्छा है. That's not the case anymore. You need to be able to pace your innings, either come up with ways to score boundaries or come up with ways to rotate strike, ensure you minimize your dot ball percentage. These are the basics in this era of ODI cricket. But unfortunately, Pakistan cricket in general and Babar Azam in particular, they haven't really, upgraded themselves from that era of cricket.
Yeah, he gets clubbed in this Fab Five in the ODIs, and I feel like purely because of the numbers, they've added him there. But like in clutch situations, he's not really taking Pakistan over the line. Even that Champions Trophy final, if you look at it, was done a fucker. I know he scored a 46, but when I asked you the question earlier, does he feature in the top 30 ODI batters? For me, no. The ICC ODI batting ranking suggests something completely different where he's number 2. But I can clearly tell you right now, even he doesn't feature in the top 5 ODI cricketers for Pakistan right now because Sam Ayub is injured but way better. Fakhar Zaman is injured but way better. You look at Rizwan, who Nick's mentioned. You look at someone like Kushdil. You look at someone like Salman Ali Agha, I think, who's their best player right now, cross formats in terms of form and all of that. So Babar really needs to start doing something different. Otherwise, it's the inevitable Kamran Ghulam will come take his place in that Bangladesh-Pakistan game. And then again, Babar will be dropped or sacked or rested or however what PCB want to term it. But man, God bless him, because I feel like he is a good player, class, but he needs to give us something, even across the border, for us to save him if he needs that. There are more comments coming through right now. Is flat track in Pakistan resulting in bad technique for Pakistan batters? Not really. I mean, they've always grown up in that. It's been their staple for the longest time. So that shouldn't be a silly reason. Those numbers, if you look deeply, 15 tons have come against sides like Zimbabwe, Nepal, and a finished West Indies. I mean, you still, of course, got to dish out those numbers. Even if you look at Sankara's 14,000 odd runs in ODIs, my stats man told me earlier that he's got so many against Zimbabwe and Bangladesh and a washed Pakistan at the time. So, look, you can only beat what's in front of you. So I won't really give him that dagger, but I would tell him and tell his fans to, of course, stop bidding him so high. Let him do something right in the bigger tournaments. By the way, you guys are joining this Monday Night Live. Like this video, yeah, please. I noticed that lots of y'all are watching this right now, but not many likes. Just click like. It really helps the algorithm and all of that. Still some more Champions Trophy to talk to you all about, but let me just give you a quick score in terms of
WPL. Scorecard update,
Yeah, go on.
I think Avnish finally gets what feel being a champion who is winning titles as compared to people who are celebrating small milestones feels like.
No, I mean, essentially, even if I'm celebrating those milestones, I'm celebrating worthy milestones, not shit milestones against Zimbabwe and all of that stuff. So clearly, we can't compare the two. It's definitely, I mean, like Akshay said, apples and oranges for sure in my regard. Right, let's talk about other things in the Champions Trophy right now, because Australia-England was one hell of a game on Saturday night, and Alex Carey was brilliant. Josh Inglis was brilliant. Ben Duckett, of course, pulling out a record in terms of the highest Champions Trophy score ever. And, of course, Australia's first win in Champions Trophy history since 5,618 days, because the last time they won a game was 2009 before that. And what they did manage to do was the highest ever chase in an ICC ODI event. 352 is what they got. The previous one being dismantled by Pakistan in the ODI 2023 World Cup. But let's start with that Australia-England game and quickly talk about what we liked from that game. No one saw Australia winning it with them having the 3 pacers out, but Australia doing Australia things. So next, where did they do things right, and how did you foresee a 5-wicket win before a ball was bowled in that game?
I think my only hunch in that prediction getting right was that England, I was sure that England would bat first, because that's what it did even in India, that they would most likely opt to bat first, and then that would mean Australia get the job of their weaker link being out first. That okay, my weaker link is my bowling, so whatever they score, I'll have to back their batters to come good. And I felt their batting is good enough to seal the game. And I don't know why, but it is good that it came out that way only. They will win by 5 wickets, and eventually they did. What is very interesting in that 5-6-1 it is, I just was able to figure one thing. You look at the scorecard. Yet their number 5 got a score, their number 6 got a ton. They had a record stand, and they took 8 wickets for England. It is stupid cricket things that we try and make logic for, but and there is also 165 from Ben Duckett in that 5-6-1. So it is just mad. I think Duckett played well. England fell short by a few runs. I know Livingston has already said that they did not deserve to lose, but it is cricket. Welcome to cricket. But okay, we'll have banter on Livingston. Aage bhi, so I'll keep it for later. I think Australia, in terms of English, I was not surprised. I don't think they would go that long. I thought they would need a bit more from Maxwell, a bit more from their lower order batters to get over the line. But it was just the convincing manner in which once they played out Rashid, I think it is very epitome of the time we live in, that people are now so sure of their skills that we know one threat, Adil Rashid. We play him out, rest we can manage. And boy, how well they managed everybody, because then Kas was hit and then Jofra Archer was hit. Uh, I know Vikas has a special word for him, but when you hit Jofra Archer like that, picking the slower one, it tells you you are at the top of your game. So well deserved for Australia. I know a lot of us took their side for granted, but Australia, they do the basics well, so you can never take it off them.
Yeah, Australia, phenomenal performance. Just the fact that Josh Inglis did that. Now he's got 100 in each format, I feel. The test match against Sri Lanka was his test 100. And of course, this one being his maiden ODI 100. He got 100 as an opener against India. So in T20. So just brilliant from an English perspective. And for them just to chase down 352, Akshay, without Travis Head and Steve Smith having anything to say with the bat, is another positive in a way, because everyone's fired apart from them. Those two are their prime key players, which you think will definitely get back into form against South Africa on Wednesday. What else did you like about Australia? Was it Nathan Ellis? Even though he went wicketless, 10 overs, none for 51 on that road, which I think par score should have probably been 385. He did terrifically well to pull things back and to give Australia some sort of hope to chase that.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Ellis's spell was worth its weight in gold. The way he was bowling, especially at the death, he was single-handedly responsible at the death in particular, where they conceded just 35, 36 runs in the last 5 overs, there and thereabouts. And given the English side and how, Duckett was looking and how everyone was looking, they were well and truly on course for a 385, 400 even kind of total. So good on Ellis for being able to do that. And another name I would like to mention is Matt Short. I don't think people speak or rate him enough. I am usually mocked in the office. I really rate him very highly. I think he's an elite pace hitter. He is disabled against spin. That goes without saying. His game against spin is something that he needs to work on. Even that day he got out to Livingston, if I'm not wrong. But he's arguably one of the better players of pace I have seen in the recent past. Like when he gets going against pace, there are very few lengths you can target him with. Like usually with batters, especially against pace, you see hard lengths, you see short balls, and you try and see if that can work against them. Full hard lengths, good length, short balls, you can throw anything at him. But if it's a pacer, Matt Short will in all likelihood get on top of it. So good to see him do well there. In fact, the game before this, if I'm not wrong, my colleague was telling me he was also he also broke a record. He scored Australia's fastest 50 ever in ODI history in the ODI he played before this one. So good to see him come good for them, and especially in this injury depleted side, him coming good bodes well for them. Like Avnish mentioned, Travis said, Steve Smith, these are arguably their biggest match winners. उन दोनों का कोई मतलब role ही नहीं था, and that really bodes well for them.
Yeah, brilliant from an Australia perspective. Remember, if they win the Champions Trophy, they will literally have every particular title in cricket under them, apart from the T20 World Cup. And if they win that, then probably that is just winning cricket and having everything in your whole particular hold, which is insane. Good to great. Meanwhile, saying, do you guys notice Butler asking English to lead the players off the field once the game got over? Great gesture despite the rivalry in context of the game himself. Absolutely agree with you. And there was another one saying, I always maintain that Aziz Amir, we took this one as well. And he also said, both Gary and English taught the youngsters a masterclass in grit and determination when odds are stacked against spin. You never give up is the Aussie motto. Indeed, in Australia, were of course up at it with Mark Wood, Archer and Cast there. So it wasn't a bad attack at all, with Adil Rashid being nullified at times in the game. So well done, Australia, to get the points there. And now they take on South Africa on Wednesday. South Africa themselves beating Afghanistan by 107 runs. And I feel like that is a game which will definitely help them. If you look at how this could have been a potential banana skin, they could have lost points. Everyone was thinking Afghanistan beating South Africa in that recent series against Sharjah could actually help the Afghanis, but it wasn't to be. So your best takeaway from that game, Nix, if there's one thing that you really liked from either side, what was it from that 107-run win from South Africa against Afghanistan?
One thing that I clearly liked from South Africa was that dismissal of Ibrahim Zadaran. Love the chap, but to lose your middle stump like that to Kagiso Rabada. Being a Rabada FC, again, I've covered a lot of Kagiso Rabada cricket right from his very young days, so feels very personal whenever he does well. So that, And I think Ryan Rickelton coming good right up top. We've seen a lot of glimpses of him in the SA20, and we felt, dude, if this guy gets into the longer format, Test maybe yes, maybe not, but ODI is where I feel there is enough time for players like him to get in and get a score, and that's what he did. So very happy for Ryan in that term, because Quinton is like a semi Warner. I would not rate him as good as Warner. I think he's a semi Warner, but Ryan reaching half of him will also be very good for South Africa, and they need Ryan to come good with Temba, Rassi, and others to follow. So very happy for Ryan in that regard.
Yeah, because we saw South Africa in that Tri series, and we all liked Matthew Gretzky. He wasn't in the squad, but like Nick said, very, very happy for them. A lot of stats coming through from that day as well. Afghanistan and ODI run chases since 2022. They've just won 2 out of 12, chasing 250 plus targets. So that was always going to be a uphill task for them, should I say the least. Defeats by 100 plus runs for Afghanistan in ICC ODI tournaments. They have, of course, taken a few, but this one joined the list as well. The last one was to New Zealand and Chennai, the 2023 World Cup with that regards. And remember, this is an important tournament for Afghanistan and England, even though they find themselves in the same group. I say that because even if you look at the ICC Super ODI League, the next World Cup, South Africa and Zimbabwe get automatic qualification. And then it comes down to whether England can actually do themselves and just do well in this group, because if they fall out of the top 8, they would probably miss out on the World Cup, as ridiculous as that sounds, because we've seen West Indies miss out on the 2023 ODI World Cup for that. They went down in a qualifier to Zimbabwe in South Africa, or Zimbabwe was. But Akshay, could that be a situation if Afghanistan actually beat England in this group? Anything can happen, man, and they're playing each other next. So in the grander scheme of things in ODI cricket, England's World Cup in 2027 is in jeopardy.
I mean, the last time these two sides took on in an ICC event, we know what happened. So, of course, anything can surely happen, and it's the same format. We also have spoken about England and the way they go about it. It's such a high variance, gameplay that they've opted for, approach that they've opted for, that they can surely even lose against Afghanistan. It's not beyond the realm of possibilities. I had Afghanistan as a potential top 4 candidate for the Champions Trophy. In fact, even in the last game, to be honest, at the start of the second innings, I still felt that Afghanistan were there in it, with a shot. Not, of course, I wouldn't say they started off as favourites, but I still thought they had a more than decent lineup to take care of it. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised to see Rahman Shah play the way he did. But bowling wise, resources hai inke paas. Now it's all about this playing cohesively. They cannot depend on a few match winners. In fact, that was the highlight of that 2023 World Cup campaign. We saw different people put their hand up. They were playing very well as a unit. Oh, the shot. That's a shot. Apologies for that. So I'm hoping that Afghanistan, continue playing as a unit, because that day the bowling effort really left a lot of room for desire. The way Fazal Farooqi bowled with the new ball, even Azmatullah Umar, like, we are hoping better things for them. We know बहुत potential है वहाँ पे. Now it does look like the kind of they have the kind of resources that could potentially really do well against some of the top sides. So fingers crossed we will see them go across the line against England.
Yeah, England, Afghanistan will be a tasty one, and of course, I think that game's on a Thursday, is it? With regards to this week, let me just check that. Yeah, Australia, South Africa tomorrow on Tuesday. I keep saying Wednesday. Afghanistan, England on Wednesday. And then, of course, Pakistan, Bangladesh on Thursday. So let's see how Group B prevails. And just a reminder for you all, this is how the schedule looks for the Champions Trophy. So interesting times ahead. Still early days. There's been 3 games, 1 chasing, 2 games, 1 batting first. So you can't really predict it as well. So it's going to be good. But my question to you guys right now is basically, Champions Trophy has been the best so far indeed. But my question is this one. Which century have you guys liked the most in this year's Champions Trophy? Now, you can let us know. And also, we're asking who will win the Champions Trophy this year. That's a side chat altogether. But out of all the centuries we've seen, from Tawad Hridoy to Will Young to Virat Kohli to Josh Inglis, which was the best? Is there a way we can judge them? I know I have an answer, and it's not Virat Kohli. So, Nick, you want to go first here?
सबका
Yeah,
same
my
होगा.
answer is also. I think it will be Josh English, because that game where it was and for how it came back to how Australia eventually won it on a canter of sorts, and for a guy to be that his maiden ODI turn, clearly I think hands down Josh English gets the cake.
Okay, Josh Inglis for Knicks. Akshay, for you, which out of the 7 Centurions have you liked?
Has to be English, यार. Match context situation सबको तुम अगर factor करते हो, you just cannot look past English. It was a fantastic knock, to be honest. So great to see him do well. I remember ODI World Cup से पहले उनको देखा था, लगा this guy has it in him. I hope we can also see him in the IPL and all of it. So good to see him come good. Has to be English for sure.
See, I mean, the one that I really take my hat off to is the Bangladeshi lad, Tawad Ridoy, because India were in a commanding position, literally 35 for 5. Bangladesh had their ass against the mat. And I feel like when he pulled that out of the situation, it was brilliant. I actually really like Duckett's knock as well, even though it wasn't the best Australian bowling attack, but 165, she's in, Akshay, she's in
I
by...
can't believe, like, is she a superhuman? What is this, yaar? Matlab, I'm sorry, the frame start hua, it really looked like a very obvious run out. Sorry, I had to cut in, and Arun asked what game are these guys reacting to? It's the RCB UP game, of course. But yeah,
UP
continue.
game and the WPL chat rather will have that in the best of the rest for sure. But we're just debating which century is the best. Let me take a couple of comments. English, Leeds born English, and everyone's agreeing with Nick's over there. I think generally the Duckett one sticks with me because generally to break the competition record is mad. And let me just show you some numbers from that. High score for England in ICC ODI events. He has that. He's overtaken Strauss. So what Strauss did to India in Bangalore. And then the second Duckett record is, of course, highest individual score in Champions Trophy history. The first one and that third one, both in losing causes, but the rest, I think, all came in winning causes. And finally, efforts went in vain. Highest score on a losing cause in an ODI event. And well, that is the highest ever that we've seen in an ICC ODI event. So, look, as much as you like that one or the English one, you guys can agree with us. Right. Time to move on to the best of the rest, indeed, where we're going to be talking about different things, previewing the Ranji final. I think my food's also arrived, but nonetheless, we can, of course, cool. 1 second. I have to take a comment. Not cool from Avnish to troll Babar like someone random internet troll. He's going through a lot of tough time, but let's not kick someone when they're down. You're a Kohli fan. Remember how Babar supported. I mean, mate, again, just I don't know whether they're winding me up in the chat. I'm going to troll Babar because he's not done anything which is noteworthy. I mean, tell me something which he's actually done really well. Like, even if you look at Pakistan beating Sri Lanka and Hyderabad in the 2023 ODI World Cup, it was Abdullah Shafiq and Mohammad Rizwan. Tell me a really credible knock that Babar Azam has played before you try to compare him to Virat or blame Virat fans for like having a go at him. I mean, honest to God, I can't take that comment. Anyway, Ben is a word, always a hallmark for England. Big Ben's indeed. What is the best meme you saw yesterday from the Champions Trophy altogether? What was the best meme? I think the best meme I felt was, I know our
To
boys
me, it
came up with
was
a few. Yeah, next.
it was Wasim talking about that guy that, oh, somebody reading a hand said, oh, you'll become poor, oh, you'll become poor, oh, you'll become curse, oh, you'll get used to it. So that is our health is how Wasim put it. So yeah, that is the one thing that I felt stuck with me.
Akshay, did you see a meme or a tweet which made you giggle?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I saw anything. Was off social media. Was off. Was on digital detox. That's a pretty cool
So
word.
he's
Cool term.
uh, he found a good word today.
Yeah, exactly. So call me that going forward. Who is it? Who? Vasant Naren, that's the new term.
Was
Call me digital detox going forward. But Avnish, what about you? Came across anything funny?
I do, but I don't remember the particular page on Instagram. It was an AI driven page. It was a podcast between Rohit, Babar, and Virat. And obviously, it was just constructed in a way which is hilarious. And it came down to that whole saying, which literally was what? oh, who's Virat Kohli's son? Oh, it's Babar Azam and all of that bullshit. But like again, Indian fans could just laugh upon it because it is something which is laugh worthy. That's over to Perry carrying RCB. A lot of WPL comments coming through right now, understandably so, because Perry is just absolutely taking it to the cleaners, 80 of 49, and she's taking
Avnish, don't say. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say next. Just don't say that. You can carry on. You can praise
what
Perry.
what was I going to say? What was
What Nani Kaur has just mentioned. Kuch mat bolo. Bas match dekhte hain.
Oh no, I'm not indicating by any stretch that she's going to get to the triple figure mark, but she could. You never know. You never know. Now that I've jigsed it, it's still 8 balls, man. It's an absolute task.
It's not that it's not possible. It's very much. This is like Shane Warne, Mark Nicholas wala. Like insert that meme over here.
Okay, now we've spoken about all the Champions Trophy stuff, and let's of course allude to some IPL news that we want to share with y'all. Some of the replacement speculations we've been hearing. We know that CSK have appointed a former RCB coach for their spin frailty, so we'll talk about that in the best the rest. I know Nix is winding up already. Right. It is, of course, IPL chat right now. We are building up nicely to this tournament, and I can't wait to ask y'all how you guys feel about it. Meanwhile, we are going to be reacting to Elise Perry and this dying overs of RCB's first innings against UP. So bear with us. What are the latest things to come out of the IPL? Now, I mentioned CSK hiring Sridhar and Sriram. Who do they have before Sriram as their spin bowling consultant, Next?
I'm not sure if they had. I can't recall one particular name, but it clearly did not help playing spin for RCB. I just hope it works better for Chennai.
He was with Lucknow, by the way. RCB ke baad Lucknow
DC
bhi gaya,
and
kaun se
Punjab.
So
And DC and Punjab.
Whichever way.
But one second. So now the whole talk about replacements happening. Are RCB the only ones with real marquee injuries, with Hazelwood and Bethel threatening to go out of the tournament?
I came across a report, again, speculations. Apparently, Cricket Australia have advised Hazelwood, Stark, and Pat Cummins, all three, to skip IPL, keeping the WTC final and everything, sort of on the radar, everything that's coming up. So they were like, you three probably should have to, skip a bit of the IPL, if not the entire tournament. So, agar aisa hota hai, so that'll also be a huge blow, not just to the respective teams, but also to the tournament itself. So I hope, but yeah, those are reports coming out.
Now, even with some KKR news, Kolkata Knight Rider fans might like this. They probably have hinted at their new captain. They're doing a preseason preparatory camp in Mumbai. I think Venkatesh Iyer is part of that. There's Rinku part of that. So, do we have any indication who could be the next KKR captain? Nick's, like, everyone's saying different things, but surely it's got to be Rinku or Venki Iyer.
No, I think it is more likely between Venki and Ajinkya. Could be any of them. Because again, with Venki, you kind of want to draw the connection that, he's worked with Chandrakant Pandit a lot. They understand the commentary will be good. And it's not wrong. That's how cricket works. That's how sport works, where you want to work with people who worked in the past. And again, Rahane, astute captain. There is no doubt there in terms of tactics and otherwise. So, good chance for him also to come good, so to speak. So, again, not worried about who gets captaincy there. I think that unit, honestly speaking, I think they are one of those units who I think could go on and defend their title, because it's very rare that it happens in the IPL. Only 2 teams have done it. But if I had to say that is this team good enough to do it or not, I would say they are. Whether they do it or not is a different question, but I think they are set up well. Captaincy will only be an added feather in that setup.
Okay, and some RCB news. So, obviously, Bethel and Hazelwood, their injuries are a big concern. So, now, Akshay, can you tell the public, like you've been telling us in office, who are your replacements for Bethel and Hazelwood in case they miss the tournament?
Madam, we've just been thinking out loud. I personally think Kyle Mears isn't too bad an option, as a Bethel replacement. Someone who can tong the ball. Chinnaswamy is a very batter-friendly surface. So, have they? Oh my word! Oh, thank God! That's out. Thank God.
Sophie's done an MSD. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
good on. 180 मार दिया लेकिन RCB ने, so I don't think they'll be complaining. But yeah, coming back, I think Kyle Mears will be a more than decent addition to the side. I know he is primarily a power play batter, open he karta hai, so number 3 might not be suited. So you don't have to play him, but as a backup, Bethel ke badle, I don't think, I mean, I won't say like for like, but left-hander, aggressive batter, Chinnaswamy, we know how the conditions are, especially during the IPL. So should it be anything like it was during last IPL, I think Kyle Mears will also enjoy himself. Salt, Kohli, Mears, Rajat, Livingston, that is, Jitesh Sharma, that's a fairly aggressive batting lineup to say the least. Of course, on their day, they can also be bundled out for less than 49 even maybe. But I think he's a name that can be considered and definitely not Charit Aslanka, Janit Verlalge, Avnish. Just to be clear, आप बोलने से पहले मैं ही बोल रहा हूँ सामने से. And what was
Ben
the other
Duckett.
name?
Ben Duckett.
Ben Duckett is actually, I don't know if it's recency bias now because of his knocks and all of it, but arguably not the worst of options. Number 3, left-hander, plays spin fairly well. Chinnaswamy again, because it is a very batter-friendly surface, there are very few batters who wouldn't enjoy themselves at the Chinnaswamy, but maybe worth a shout, maybe. But I'm guessing they will look for someone who can also offer a bit of value with the ball.
Okay, and with regards to the Hazelwood replacement, there's Mustafizur, there's Gulbuddin Naib. Would you like to see
नईब
him?
नहीं है भाई. IIT T20 एक बार कवर क्या कर लिया, नईब के पीछे आप पड़े हो. नईब नहीं है.
He's performed well in Bangalore against India in the T20. He knows the ground well.
भाई उसको याद भी नहीं होगा कि उसने वो बैंगलोर में क्या था.
Sikandar Raza.
Maybe, but Hazelwood के लिए सिकंदर रजा कहाँ से आता है यार? We need a pacer. So I was very surprised when Naveen Ulagh went unsold. I really think he's done more than decently in the IPL, and I wouldn't be too unhappy if he's picked. Especially away जब Chennai, Lucknow ऐसे surfaces में खेलेंगे तो he'll be a great addition to the side. He is a thinking bowler, and that's what I like about him more than the skills itself. It's the fact that he has those smarts. That itself is not very common, so I wouldn't mind seeing someone like him come again. Fizz is not the worst of options, but यार Chinnaswamy, if it plays like it did in IPL 2024, तो Fizz बहुत मार खा सकता है यार. So मेरे को बस वही डर है. बाकी और कौन है? निखिल भाई, any options you have in mind? वाह निखिल भाई, congratulations. 2025.
I'm not on mute.
He's not on mute.
Oh, भाई साहब.
Well, I can hear myself. But I was thinking, do RCB have any other guy who can hit the deck? Yes, no.
Hit the deck? No, not exactly. Rasikdar
Back of leg डालने वाला
नहीं है.
हाँ. So I think they'll probably want to look for that option if possible, because if you go with Naveen is also someone who holds full a lot more. So you already have Booty and Yes there, I guess, to use the swing also. So Naveen is not a bad shot, but I just feel variety-wise, you might need someone who hits the deck. I have a name which I don't know how many people go with, but Bartman, if he's available and free, I think he would be a great guy to have.
What about Will O'Rourke?
Will O'Rourke, I feel, is too new and too untested, in my opinion. Yeah, too raw. So at Bartman, I feel he's done well even for Sunrisers, Eastern Cape, and otherwise. Yeah. And he's a good gas to use that right word. Can hit the deck, really surprise people with the short ball, and again middle over bowler. So works out well.
Would you take Nabi as a replacement for Bethel?
As an opponent, yes.
Yeah, exactly. He would. We wouldn't.
Okay, fine, cool. Guys, let me know your thoughts as well about any replacements that might happen. Remember, it's not RCB just struggling with some injuries. Sanju Samson has a finger surgery, I think, that could happen for the first couple of games of IPL 2025. That's the rumor going around. We know that. Then if you take a look at even Mitch Marsh, who's going to be missing the season with LSG, they need to look for a particular option over there, and others which might come to mind as well heading into the tournament. So your guess is as good as ours, but that's the IPL chat that we wanted to have with you all. Let's just quickly talk about the Ranji final, which is going to happen this week. And let's just talk about that crazy game, the Gujarat-Kerala game, how it all unfolded. They were almost on the brink of conceding a first innings lead, and then it's hit the fielder on short leg and then ballooned kindly to the other fielder for them to lose their mind, go into delirium, and then to put Kerala into their first ever Ranji Trophy final. Great story from that. And now who starts favourite in that Ranji final? Vidarbha or Kerala?
The Karun Nair Derby, bolunga.
Sorry?
Yeah.
The Karun Nair Derby. I mean, he's a Mallu playing for Vidarbha, so it'll be interesting. Sorry, Nikhil, baap pehle bolo.
No, I'm saying I don't know if people have clear favorites. I feel enough merit for argument on both ends. Now, if Vidarbha can find new heroes, who knows? Kerala have been finding new heroes every single game to get the job done. So, plenty of good people to look out for. I don't think I have a clear favorite. I know others will have, but I think the batting from both ends, I want Jalak Saxena to do well, but I also want Karun Nair to do well. So, plenty of mixed emotions there.
Yeah, Vidarbha made the final last year, lost to Mumbai, of course. And then you take a look at even their previous Ranji finals, 2017-18, 2018-19. So Vidarbha had been kind of doing good things in the last 7-8 years as a Ranji side, but this will be some momentous occasion for Kerala because they have a bunch of cricketers. If we look at their squad and what has been enterprising for them, you talk about the likes of Sachin Baby, Mohammad Azharuddin, Vishnu Vinod, Babra Prajit. All these guys have been around for a while. Even your Aditya Sarvate, Basil Tampi, Jalak Saxena. I think you look at that squad and it has enough experience to probably get you over the line. But look, Vidarbha themselves have a lot of players in form. So let's see how that all unravels. Who are you guys backing? Kerala, Vidarbha, one winner, guys.
Yeah, I would side with Vidarbha with Harsh ka form, but I don't know if he'll eventually pan out that way.
Okay, I'm just going to go Kerala because Kerala hasn't won it. So always love to see a new winner. Akshay, what about you?
Interesting. I mean, I usually do what Avnish did. I like seeing new winners, but I'm rooting for Vidarbha because they have been doing consistently well across formats. Vijay Hazare, Matt Harjik, उन्होंने काफी अच्छा किया है. So I'm very torn. Okay, I'll stick to what I usually do. Kerala. Let's have new winner.
Okay, Kerala, it is. A lot of eyes will be on Karun Nair, Akshay Vadkar from a Vidarbha perspective. They're all in the run getting chats. And even from just a bowling perspective, let's see who ekes out the most wickets because Harsh Dubey right now has the most in terms of this year's tournament, 65 wickets in his 9 matches. Right, that's all we have in the Ranji Trophy scheme of things. Let's move on and quickly discuss the WPL and what we'd like more on the WPL through watch-alongs and the Wednesday Women's Cricket podcast, which you guys definitely need to check out. What have we liked this particular WPL, at least in the weekend which has gone by? Harmanpreet and her team coming to Bangalore and silencing them even though they couldn't hear themselves. Very, very important win for Mumbai Indians. Next, let me start with you. The first round of games, is there a clear winner? Are there clear losers? Talk to me.
Well, the catching is definitely a loser. It's not even a competition there. Not even worth asking. Winner, a couple of them. I think Snell Henry was very, 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 very good. That very is emphasized because raw power, you rarely see that in such leagues. So for her to just come in and smack sixes for fun against again, she was dropped on 11 if I'm not wrong. So they gave her a chance and she's like, more than happy, sir, because we drop 100 catches, you give us 1 catches, I'll always take it. So that was very good because it showed how UP went from being a 120, 130 to immediately a 160, 170 score. So I think that played a massive part. And the other bit is Amanjot Kaur. So on that very given day, I had an okay day and then just fell off by the evening. I had no energy to even get up and switch on the TV. All I saw was, I saw the toss, I saw the 11th, and like, Aaj Amanjot Kaur chali gayi. That very day, I just made one team, and that team had Amanjot Kaur, aur koi ho na ho, is team mein Amanjot Kaur honi chahiye. And for that game to pan out the way it did, Kaur to take wickets, the other Kaur to score runs, for Amanjot to score runs, but the winner was Kamalini. I think the way she played that last overs, 2 from 2, anything can happen. for a 16-year-old to be so clear, okay, I see the gap there. She knows what extra base is going to try and do. For her to do that, hats off. I mean, see, Mumbai don't always get into such positions where such a youngster is at the prime role, because usually they have their stalwarts doing the job for them. So, what Sanjana did in the very first season or second season, for Kamalini to do it now, I think it was clear a winner for me, even over Sunil Henry.
So Kamalini over Chanel Henry's absolute belligerence with the bat, because no woman's really lit up the WPL, at least in terms of my mind, in terms of so many sixes. I know Divine got that 99 couple of seasons or a season ago, but Chantel Henry, who's of course waiting for her chance with the bat tonight, it'll be something to see her. Akshay, 8 games in the WPL, 7 have been won chasing, and the one last night, the Delhi UP game, of course, gone to the team batting first. Is it a toss agnostic tournament? Is it a trend that we're seeing? What are your observations so far?
Vadodara, of course, was extremely skewed towards the side chasing. Dew played a major role there. Batting became a lot more easier in the second innings. Of course, with Bangalore so far, 2 games, one by the team batting first, one by the team batting second. And even the first one, the one that Mumbai chased, it was a thriller. It wasn't a runaway chase for Mumbai Indians. So happy signs that for the surface and the tournament, because we don't want the toss or the surface itself to decide kya ye to pata hi hai, win the toss, win the game wala situation hai. So happy to see Bangalore hasn't been so skewed towards one side. And in terms of what we've seen so far, of course, performances wise, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, just adding a couple more. Priya Mishra, that 3-4 against UP Warriors. Top draw stuff from an Indian wrist spinner.
Brain dead batting. Sorry to comment. Brain dead batting. I have not seen worse shot selections. I've seen worse shot selections, but at this point of time.
Sorry?
Which game is
Gujarat
this?
versus UP.
Gujarat versus.
Okay, yeah. And who is brain dead batting? I mean, who is it from?
Oh, UP. We are leading on that front.
Okay, so 1 second. So Nick's just mentioned his favorite moment with Kamalini and that exquisite sort of winning shot. What was it for you, Akshay? Anything which stood out for you in WPL this week? Last week?
Last week, I'm trying to think kya tha. Yeah, Chanel Henry, I would probably still have it over Kamalini. Kamalini, of course, make no mistake. That was a fantastic performance from the youngster. It was so great to watch her, and importantly, even with someone like Sanskriti Gupta also doing well, I wish she got more than just the 1 over that she did. So उनको भी मतलब bowling करते हुए देख के बहुत मजा आया. 2 names that I've been talking about. You know what? I'll actually go for a different name. I'll go for Kranti Gaur, for a name I had been talking about right after the auction. That delivery to Meg Lanning, man, just jacked back him sharply. मतलब क्या तुम Meg Lanning की बात कर रहे हो, who's arguably one of the best batters women's cricket has ever seen, and to be able to dismiss her the way she did, oh man, that was fantastic. And even one of the cotton bowled efforts that she had, that was a very good catch. Especially in the context of how many dropped catches we saw in the very same game, that was a fantastic catch to see. So very good spell, and it bodes well for UP Warriors because historically they have been a side who relied on their spinners. So to see some of their pacers do well will really be something they'll be happy about. आज भी हमने देखा, Kranti Gaur first over was pretty good. She started off really well, and so hopefully we'll get to see a lot more of her. So yeah, that'll be the name I go for.
Okay, so Kamalini, Kranti Gaur. I would go for Grace Harris in that hat trick because the final wicket was just absolute craziness. If you saw that, hit her hard in the chest and she managed to take it. One of the wickets also was, I think, Arundhati Reddy getting out to Kashvi Gautam. And if you guys saw that dismissal, Kashvi Gautam's taken a catch. And then the camera zoomed in on her. And she is giving Arundhati Reddy a send-off like you can't imagine, because I was like, what is this all about? Then I went back to the first innings, and then I saw Arundhati Reddy getting the wicket and then sending her off. So obviously, there's some crazy beef between certain women's cricketers right now.
There has to be a try series. There has to be a try. There has to be a try series between Sherawat, Arundhati Reddy, and Kashvi Gautam. It will be fun. People would pay to watch it.
I like Saima Thakur also. Matlab very fiery customers. But yeah,
Let her
it's
hold.
very nice to meet such fiery
Let her
characters.
hold catches. Let her hold catches. She'll not be eligible if she drops dollies like those.
Yeah, so I think highlight of the week for me, Grace Harris and that piece of business. I mean, Krati God was good for a 4-4, but Grace also getting a 4-4. In terms of lowlights, there were quite a few, but Uma Chaitri tops the list. I mean, we were talking about poor catching, but even poor wicket keeping and stumping opportunities. She eventually got a stumping that night, but it just made me think about the women's game and how that area should really be improves in leaps and bounds. Avnish Pro, when you get some international experts to the show, please pose questions to them without to fail. Last time you sold me a dummy when you had Swan on the show. Guys, what happened? No comments section. Gosh, when you talk about WPL, Aki turns Virat non-stop, a lone warrior in the WPL. Look, good to great. Thank you so much for being chatty. We will take comments whenever we can. And of course, if we miss out, we'll take them in the 12th man segment. If I can get some international cricketers on the show, I'll definitely keep you in terms of your first questions from the chat for sure. But keep your comments coming through, guys, and quickly like this video. All you other people, apart from Good to Great, I know Good to Great's already hit the like in terms of that. Now with the WPL done and dusted, we just want to showcase what's there to watch this week. Plenty of Champions Trophy and WPL action. Like I mentioned, tomorrow will be Australia, South Africa. That should be a belter. There's also the Zimbabwe Island series going on. So that's now moved to the final game of the tour, the 30-20 international tomorrow, and then the WPL continues as well. India New Zealand is that game that we're going to look forward to on Sunday, and there's plenty of watch-alongs as well with regards to Akshay and his girls. Right, if we don't have anything else to talk about in the WPL, let's move on to Akshay's quiz. And there was a good couple of shouts last week for Howzzaat. Let's see if there was any winners. Right, sorry, Good to Great, not Good to Great. Arun. Sorry, Arun. I'll remember that. Time to play Akshay's quiz, but first up, Akshay, who won last year? Who won last week, and what was it?
Yep, let's have the question out first. There we go. It was the first time I'm guessing कि हम थोड़ा ऐसा graph के साथ खेल रहे थे. Very simple, fairly obvious. IPL schedule आ गया था. This was around that. In hindsight, I'm hoping all of you would have made the connection. CSK KKR MI being on top. 9 games for CSK, the highest ever. So yeah, games again being another clue. 9, of course, we didn't mention anything. The answer was basically these are the number of times each of these sides have played the tournament opener. And in fact, these are the only sides who have played the tournament opener in the history of IPL. RCB KKR, of course, starting this time around. A lot of you got it right, but this time around, the lucky winner is, interestingly, Avnish is missing here. Cricket Shots 5817. So congratulations on getting it right. Do get in touch with us on Twitter, and our social media team will take care of the rest. Coming to this week, of course, थोड़ा WPL के flavor में हम लोग खेल रहे हैं. That probably is a hint in and of itself. Very simple. एक blank है. This is an exhaustive list of 5 names. We want you guys, of course, to identify what this list is all about and also fill in the blank. So exhaustive list है, मतलब these are the only names who are a part of this list. So that, in some sense, is a hint. Also, this is in the order, so this is a list of something, so it is in that very order, alphabetically being kiya. So if that helps, so I want you guys to identify what this list is all about and who the first blank is. So who is number 1 in this list? And of course, like always, wait for the live stream to end. Do not key in your answers in the live chat. Wait for the live stream to end and enter your answers in the main comment section in order to stay eligible to win yourself a 500 rupee Amazon voucher from us. So that's that from this week's Howzzaat. Nikhil bhai, until Avnish is here, maybe इसी segment में थोड़ा WPL बात कर ही लेते हैं. 180 रन बने.
No, I'm back. Sorry, I just had to quickly go to the loo to attend Nature's Call. But look, that was a quiz, indeed. I don't know whether it was straightforward, but something to think about from a WPL perspective as well. And now I just want to take all the questions in terms of the 12th man segment because we are strapped for time. So if you have any questions, your time is now in the chat. Right, time to take some questions, which we did miss at the start of the show, indeed, and we'll take a few right now. Let's go in terms of the first one, and I think Nani co-forcing. Why is Danny struggling in this IPL? I mean, today 57, but I get your sentiment with the first couple of knocks she played. That last dismissal of hers, not today, she had an absolute long hop, and I've never seen a batter, men's or women's, get out in that fashion. But Akshay, can you put a finger to why she struggled early on and now she's found her feet?
I wouldn't really call it struggle. Yeah, she's had two decent outings on that 41 against Mumbai 41 against Delhi and a 50 here today. Of course, she did struggle today as well in the first half, but surface a bit of lack of form on her part as well. It's not like she's been in the greatest of form entering the tournament. Ashish maybe utna acha nahi kiya tha, jitna we usually come to expect off of her. So it does take a bit of time, and Vadodara was sort of slightly tricky, but it is basically a lack of form. There's nothing else to look at specifically in that.
Okay. Asim Hans had this one when we were discussing the India-Pakistan game, and he asks Nix, if Akshar's run-out hadn't happened of Imam, were we looking dangerous enough to take wickets at the time?
I think pressure was definitely being built and mistakes would have been created then. The good thing that worked for India then was both were playing on each other's patience. India were happy to not give them any runs, any boundaries, and Pakistan were happy to take time. So, had Imam not taken that, the reason that Imam had to take the risky single is telling you that the pressure was there, and eventually that's where he gave in to that pressure and took an unnecessary risk. So, I think it would have happened. Maybe would have gone on to get pacers earlier also in the attack. Who knows? In terms of your Shami coming back again and all of that, because he did come back immediately when the wicket fell.
Yeah, I agree. I think India would have definitely found some sort of contingency plan, even if Pakistan was just going to milk it in that middle overs phase. Good to great / Arun has this one for us, which is if New Zealand win tonight, they will be through to the semi-final. If so, should India give Washi a chance against a lot of lefties in the New Zealand for the last game? Personally, I wouldn't change, and that's how I approach such a short tournament. I don't want any changes, so to speak. But how do you boys see it? Nix, I'll start with you here again, and then I'll go to Akshay.
If he's going to play ahead, yes. If he's not going to play ahead, no chance. And you're anyways not going to give him the new ball, then I don't know when. So the lefties are in the top order. And again, Rachin played today because Mitchell was not well. So if Mitchell plays, the lefties will be reduced. And you already have too many people in the middle overs where you have to bowl spin. So I don't know where you can play him. And for whom?
Akshay, do you agree? And also, would you bring in any change? For example, Harshit sits out this one. Arshdeep just comes in, gets his little game in.
I mean, if this is your first choice 11, yeah, 4 game ka to tournament hai. Why would you kya change karke this? It's not a long enough tournament, so I don't think there should be any changes. You need to give adequate match practice to your first choice players in order to ensure that they are, fit and fine and raring to go come the semi-final and the final. So I would just stick to this. If this is the 11, if Harshit Rana is going to play the knockout games, then he has to play the next game. There's absolutely no reason why they'll have to change anything, because conditions dependent change ke liye bhi they're playing on the same surface or in the same ground. So I don't know why they'll have to make any conditions based changes as well. So just stick to what's worked for you so far.
Yeah, stick and not twist is what all of us think in the MNL panel. Oh my God, Danny White nearly pulling off a sensational grab at long on, or was it Georgia Wareham? I'm not sure, but Kiran Navgere is setting the platform on fire. We'll try to talk about this WPL game, which is ongoing right now. And Vrinda Dinesh is opening with Kiran Navgere. Remember, Vrinda Dinesh, I'm hoping she pulls off something special in this tournament. So it just gives me an instant reason to put that video out, that interview I had with her. Very sweet, brilliant insights as well. Harish Kumar, meanwhile, saying, is there a case of India not being pushed too much by 2 matches? I feel like the batting wasn't challenged, and Arshdeep not being in the 11 is unacceptable. Thoughts from the panel on that? Also, you have to take into consideration, Harish, that India play next Sunday. So they have a week in terms of rest and recuperation. Nix, again, coming to you, that first part of the question, is there a case of India not being pushed too much by the 2 matches?
Yeah, but then you are then discussing about ideal scenarios, because that's what we felt against England also, that are England pushing you in this? But they did. You had you ball, and that's where we wondered whether whether you should play Arshdeep over one of the 2, Harshit or Shami. So They are getting challenged. I don't think they are not getting challenged. But they have taken a call that we'll go this way. I don't think there is a way out simply. They want to play Shami for Shami, and they want to play Harshit because he gives you a lot more control with the older ball and options with the older ball. Because I saw a stat yesterday where his faster ones are at 138, 139, 140. The slower ones are 115. So it is a massive drop off, almost a 20 Ks plus drop off there. And that is something good if you want to change up in the middle overs. So again, it is ironic because India have struggled to take wickets in the middle overs. So I don't think it is as black and white as it may sound.
Okay, Asiman's also asking, what do you guys think of Shami's bowling going forward? I think he'll be very key for us, and he will play all the 5 games. I mean, wicketless in the last one against Pakistan, but a 5 to start the tournament. So don't really think it's hot and cold. He will find consistency, and remember those games that he got in the England series and a few in the Ranji has just helped him get more miles in the legs. So hopefully, come semi-final and final, we have fit and firing and peak Shami. Don't get excited, guys. The real tournament for India starts now, saying click info. And meanwhile, there's some questions coming through with regards to the WPL as well, with regards to this game. And it's a UP specific one. Hold the horses here because Kiran Navgire is coming out with absolute pomp and power. 19 of her first 8 balls. And Kim Garth has been taken to the cleaners right now. I wish we can do a watch along for this because it'll be something to get Akshay's reactions on it. But I'll get both their thoughts on this question from Sports Fan. Should Dipti number 3 promotion continue today, given that is such a big target? Nix, I know you're a UP Warriors fan. I'll get your thoughts in just a second. Akshay, what do you feel? Dipti Sharma, do you think she should bat one down?
To be honest, first game we saw Amma Chhetri coming in at number 3, and second game after a good start we saw Diti Sharma coming in at number 3. So tab I thought that maybe they decided that should they get off to a good start, Diti Sharma walks in, and in case there's an early fall of a wicket, then Uma comes in. But after that, we saw Deepti come in even when they lost an early wicket. So clearly, she is backing herself to do well for the Warriors. And I don't see any reason why they have to change it, because the alternative is Uma Chhetri, who I don't think is like an upgrade of sorts. And Talia Migra hasn't been in the greatest of form. So Deepti Sharma is at least someone who can, face a few deliveries. And on her day, if she gets her sweeps right and sort of targets the right area, she can really get a nice little cameo for her side. So I don't see anything wrong in that. Even if the target is big, the surface is fairly batter friendly, shorter ground, so she will back herself to do well for her side.
Is it just me, or that Dinesh gives me an impression of a Ridhiman Saha sort of girl batter? Just vibes.
Nice, yeah. The bandana, the short height, and yeah.
Walking down the track and missing it. To a pacer, all of that kind of stuff. Nix, what about Dipti Sharma? How can they maximize her opportunity with the bat? Is it 2 down, 1 down, or slightly later down the order?
No, I think she has to come in before the 7th or the 8th over. I feel it is better that she comes here. I genuinely have a lot more hope and expectations from the overseas players to be able to adapt. Again, as Akshay mentioned, Talia's form is something very critical. Had Talia been fit, firing in terms of runs, I would have simply put Talia up at 3 and then used Dipti as a floater. But because that is not happening, I think this start allows Dipti to get in, and then she can just be up with the rate. All you want Dipti, if she comes at 3 or 4, is just be with the rate and do not have too many dot balls. If that is taken care of, the rest of the batting is good enough to take care of the chase. But you need a good hand, because that it will allow people like Kiran and everybody to just play their shots.
Absolutely. Kiran is playing a blinder so far. 10 balls for 24. UP are well on their way to chase this 181 that RCB have, of course, set them this Monday evening. Remember, the watch-alongs will continue this week with Akshay and the girls. There is going to be a lot of live shows. We saw one with Gurkirat returning to the platform of the Hindi show yesterday, so go check that out. And of course, we'll see you in the next Monday Night Live. But there's other content, shorter ones in terms of the reels, and the other video that we just put out earlier today as well, just going around the Chinnaswamy, speaking to some of the fans and just soaking up all the WPL vibes is just fun. Go check it out and see how that's come out. Until the next time, so goodbye from me, Nix, and Akshay. Champions Trophy, WPL will continue. Cricket.com will continue. But please like this video before we sign off. It just really helps. And in case you guys are joining us right now, haven't heard our chats, rewind it and let us know in the comments. Remember, if you guys want to win the prize from Akshay's Howzzaat quiz right after this video gets published. Get into the comments there and go on. And like Cricinfo said, we won't get too excited. There's still a long way to go, even though India 2-2. Time will tell if they can make it 3-3 and get a Champions Trophy under their belt. That's all we have. Thanks for watching, and we'll end the show on that regard. Cheers.